I was halfway through loading the dishwasher when my daughter walked past me like I didn't exist. 3 weeks of silence over a bucket of paint. And that night, I knew I'd repaint an entire room just to hear her voice again. It started long before the Cold War. Maya had been talking for months about wanting her room to feel more grown up. She'd saved money from her part-time job, scrolling through Pinterest, until her eyes were bloodshot. When she finally asked if I'd help her paint, I said yes without thinking. It felt like one of those rare mother-daughter bridges you don't take for granted at 16. We spent almost an hour in the paint aisle, and I swear every sample looked like the same square of white printer paper. She clung to a card called Swiss Coffee, like it was sent from heaven. Warm, elegant, mature. She said all the words kids use when they're trying to sound older than they are. I nodded because I wanted her to feel proud of her choice. We painted the room over an entire Saturday. I was sore for days, but watching her step back and admire her walls made it worth it. At least I thought it did. Everything changed Monday morning when she came downstairs with her eyes swollen. She didn't yell, she didn't explain, she just said the walls looked sick, too yellow, wrong, like she was trapped inside a dirty tissue. To me, it looked the same as before. White. That was my mistake. I told her it was fine, that she'd get used to it. And the moment the words left my mouth, I felt her shut down. She didn't scream. She didn't argue. She just disappeared into quiet. The silence was louder than any argument she could have thrown at me. She ate dinner in her room. She asked her dad for rides. She moved around the house like she'd been programmed to avoid me. Every time I passed her door, I felt the weight of something I couldn't name. It wasn't about paint. It was about me not listening. A week in, I caught myself standing in her doorway after she'd gone to school, staring at those walls like they were taunting me. I hated the tension more than I hated the color. So I drove back to the store and asked the paint guy to teach me what I was too stubborn to learn. Undertones, light temperature, warmth, coolness, things I'd never noticed in 30 years of living inside houses. That night, after everyone went to sleep, I crept into her room and brushed a new white on one wall. Alabaster. The next morning she didn't speak to me, but she left a sticky note on that spot that said, better. No signature, no emotion, just one word. It was enough to keep going. Every night I tried a new shade. Chantilly lace. Decorator's white. Simply white. I painted in silence, listening to my own thoughts bounce around the empty room. I wasn't trying to fix the color anymore. I was trying to understand her world, a world where details mattered, where control mattered, where her room was her refuge, and I had accidentally dismissed the one thing she cared about. She left notes on each new patch like we were communicating through coded messages. Too gray, too harsh, too creamy. Closer. We weren't talking, but the sticky notes were our truce. 2 weeks in, I tried a shade called Snowbound. Something about the name felt peaceful. I painted the whole room while she was at school, every stroke quiet and deliberate. By the time I finished, I was covered in paint and sweating, but I didn't care. It felt like I was placing bricks back into a bridge that had cracked. When she came home, she didn't even call my name. She walked upstairs, paused at her doorway, and stood there so long I started wondering if she hated it. Then she walked down the stairs and straight into my arms. No explanation, no anger, just a long overdue hug. I'm sorry, she whispered. I shouldn't have shut you out. I told her the truth, that I should have listened, that just because something didn't matter to me didn't mean it shouldn't matter to her. I admitted I still couldn't see the difference between half the shades, but I could see the difference in her face. And that was enough. We talked for hours that night. She told me her room was the only place where she felt like she had control, that getting it right made her feel steady in a way she couldn't put into words. And I understood, not the paint tones, but her need for something to just feel right. My husband said I was encouraging dramatics. My mother said I was spoiling her. But when you finally get back a voice that's been missing for weeks, you don't care what the peanut gallery thinks. Years later, after she left for college, she sent a photo of her dorm, freshly painted. The caption made me laugh. Guess what color? Swiss coffee. You were right. Took me long enough. That message sat in my phone longer than it needed to. Not because of the paint, but because it reminded me we grow by trying to see the world through someone else's eyes. Even when the picture looks blurry to us, sometimes love is loud, sometimes it's quiet, and sometimes It's 7 coats of white paint with sticky notes for conversation. Our story has come to an end. If you've made it this far, how about subscribing to our channel? It helps us immensely. I've selected 2 other videos for you that I'm sure you'll enjoy. Feel free to click on them. I'll be waiting for you in the next story. See you soon.